Welcome in, everybody. We're actually doing this at almost 12 a.m. And Bruce Laird and myself, it was a sad day for the Baltimore Ravens. Uncharacteristically, Lamar Jackson, with a chance just to drive us down to get a field goal, could not make it happen. Bruce, can they recover from a loss like this with Kansas City coming into town next week?
Well, let me tell you something. That this is what the National Football League has become, Bruce. It's an amazing situation. They're on the road, the new stadium, the whole dynamic was set up for Las Vegas, but Lamar made it so interesting all game long. And unfortunately for him, the two turnovers were the mistakes that actually killed the Ravens. But without Lamar in the game, it's not even a game. And we can get in the X and O's, which we'll do a little bit later in the program. But how about Las Vegas's four-man rush? I mean, relentless all game long.
Well, Villanueva got eaten alive by Max Crosby. And
Correct.
that Max Crosby was incredible. But Bruce, what gets me is that you got a 3-point lead with 30 some seconds to go. The other team has no timeouts. I mean, they were so loose in their prevent that they just gave them 40 yards. They still I didn't get that.
There's a situation where all of a sudden Wink, he was sending 5 and blitzing. He sent 5 so you can still play coverage. So you got an extra pass rusher and you're still playing coverage. And the very first play of the game, he flat out dogged him. He sent 6, the very first play of the game against Las Vegas. And then all of a sudden he just stops and they play too soft. They get 2 big plays and they kick a 59-yard field goal or so. And they're tied up.
Let's take a look. And how disappointed were you that Lamar could not generate that winning drive? We've been through this a lot. He got the ball, tremendous break. I mean, them not scoring was almost impossible. It was almost impossible. All right, on the half-yard line. And
he throws a perfect strike to Snead. Perfect strike right in his hands. He boinks it, and it goes the other way. You know what? I've seen a lot of great football in my 35 years of watching it now. And this is one tremendous football game. But it's the mistakes, Bruce. This is what comes when good football teams, when two good football teams play each other. It's the team that makes the most mistakes that lose the game. And the Ravens just made too many mistakes at a crucial time. The 2 turnovers, you hate to say it, but, it hurt the football team drastically. But without Lamar in this game, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So many with his legs, he bought time. The Hollywood Brown touchdown, Bruce, 10 seconds. He was moving around in the pocket, outside the pocket, right, left. 10 seconds he had to throw the football. I just felt so bad for those defensive backs. And that's what Lamar can do.
Yeah, let's talk about Darren Waller, a former Raven. It's funny, they went away from him. I guess the Ravens double-teamed him, and I guess when you double-team anybody, you can take him out of the game. He had 10 catches for 108 yards, but it was this kid Edwards. It was the difference. I mean, and the last play, I don't know what happened. I think it was almost like a forfeit. It was like, let's get this damn thing over with because we're not going to win. But it's the same old Ravens, Bruce. I mean, Sammy Watkins, I thought, helped. He caught the one pass for 49 yards. What was your take on the 2 running backs combined, Latavius Murray and Tayshaun Williams? Together, they were okay.
Yeah, I got to tell you, from losing 3 of your starting running backs and going by committee and finding some kids like that and giving them a chance, I thought they ran hard. They controlled the football. They didn't fumble. They hit the holes and did what they had to do. So Um, listen, the Baltimore Ravens are a running football team. We all know that. We've seen this now for 2 years. And 1st and 10, they pound the football, and the athletic ability of Lamar Jackson is so incredible. He can do it with his feet and he can do it with his arm. Give Las Vegas a lot of credit. Andrews, where was he all day? 2 catches, 20 yards. So they took him out of the game. And I think the essence of the football game, as simple as Las Vegas plays 3 deep, their front 4 was a difference maker. Their front 4 was incredible. Wink had to send 5 numerous times, and then he blitzed numerous times as well. The only way he could put pressure on the quarterback. When you can send 4 all day long, I think they may have sent 5 one time, Las Vegas, and they pressured Lamar, and I think that was the difference in the ball game.
Bruce, I was disappointed in 2 play calls. I wrote them down. When we're driving for the go-ahead field goal, you got 3rd down and 3. Lamar rolls out, figured he could throw it or run. To me, it was almost like, all right, we're going to accept the field goal. If they get the 1st down, the game is over because they don't have any time left on the clock. Tucker kicks it in his sleep, like he did, and yet
Right.
they left 33 seconds on the clock. But the other one, when the Ravens got the ball back, 1st down, and I don't know, you roll out to Max Crosby's side. I mean, is that like? That's like going after Gino Marchetti?
Yeah.
You don't go to the best player. You go away
Yeah.
from him.
I mean, hats off to Crosby all night long. I mean, they were touting him, and the guy looked like after 65 or 70 plays, looked like he played 2 plays. His motor never stopped. He was at it 150% each and every play. And again, I know I said it, but I think the difference in this football game was the front of the Las Vegas defense. They just were relentless over and over again. And that allowed the secondary and Gus Bradley to keep a few things going. He played a lot of 3 deep zone, very, very vanilla in this day and age. Then he changed it up to a little bit of double zone, very little man. But they kept him in the ball game, and they kept Lamar as best you can, because this person is a freak of nature playing quarterback. He can do so much with his legs and extend so many plays that I think a lot of football teams don't have the personnel, Bruce, just don't have the personnel to play Lamar Jackson. I don't care how you scheme it. You can scheme all you want, but if you don't have the personnel to get to this guy, you're just going to fail. You're going to lose the game.
Bruce, you said something to me the other day, and it rang true. You said, look, it's not good losing all these halfbacks. We got to bring in other guys. But the key guy we lost was not J.K. Dobbins. It was Marcus Peters. And if Marcus Peters is back there with Marlon Humphrey, forget the fact that Jimmy Smith didn't play. It's a whole different secondary. Entirely different.
No question about it. Both of them can cover. Both of them. Peter's not a physical guy like Humphrey is, but he certainly could have helped on Waller a lot during the day. And you have these changes, but the National Football League, and I'm sure Harbaugh was saying it all week long. Listen, we got to play the game. I don't want to hear any excuses. Everybody, you hear the next man up scenario, but it's so true, because what do you say to your guys? You say 53 of us are going out there, and because we're all banged up, we don't have a chance of winning. Can't do that. So you got to bring out the best you could. And we just didn't have enough because you made too many mistakes.
Let me ask you this. To me, I found this funny. Latavius Murray was a free agent. He wouldn't take a cut from the Saints. He signs with the Ravens on Friday. All right. On Friday, has 2 days of somewhat practice and plays today. Bruce, what does this say about the preseason? And he scored a touchdown to boot. He had a great 8-yard run for a TD.
It's really getting amazing since the collective bargaining agreement started this, I guess, about 10 years ago when they loosened up practice. You couldn't be in pads, but a few days. There's so many days you can even hit, and all these situations. And then you see all this practice situation where ACLs are going left and right on our football team. They're not even in games. And you go back 25 years, Bruce, and you look at, here's a bunch of guys, double sessions, 2.5 hours each session, banging goal line, always live, at least on the line of scrimmage, over and over, week in, week out, 6 exhibition games. And we were never as hurt as these guys are in shorts and helmets. So I don't know what happens, and maybe these guys are just too fine athletes, but man, oh man, there's a lot of injuries with no physical damage involved in it.
Well, Bruce, I know you've told me many times you played through many a concussion, and you weren't sure not only what game you were in, but what state you were in.
Well, as long as the trainer knew what town I was in, he thought I was good to go. They took my helmet away one time, and I found it anyway and went back in. So those days are crazy.
Question for you. All right, you're Coach Harbaugh. Tonight they'll fly home. They got a nice 5-hour flight, which I'm sure will be a lot of fun. They got a short week because they're playing on Sunday night. They're probably off tomorrow. They come back Wednesday. What's your message to the team? Because, Bruce, when you go 0-2 in the NFL, your fortunes of making the playoffs are not good, correct?
Yes, that is true. And they have a very, very tremendous offense to play again. I did watch Kansas City the entire game, and seeing them going through their turmoil here, there, and everything. But, with Mahomes, with 5-6 minutes left in a ball game, they're never out of it. And look how they turned that around. I thought Cleveland played a great 30 minutes, but it's a 60-minute game. I mean, Harbs is going to be what he is. He's going to cheerlead the best he can. He's going to say, we were there. We had it. We just can't. Again, he's not going to blame anybody, obviously. But at the end of the day, he's going to have to root them up, and he's going to have to make sure they're ready to go on a short week. It's going to be difficult. Some of the young players that don't understand the National Football League and the mental toughness that it takes to be a good player week in, week out, they may learn a lesson this week, because you got to keep your head up and you got to work through adversity.
On the touchdown pass that turned out not to be a touchdown, the rookie Westry was covering. They said on TV his coverage was perfect. He threw like a behind the shoulder pass.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that? Did Westry do anything wrong on that?
No, I mean, and that came in the league about 20 some years ago, Bruce, where versus press coverage, everybody started throwing the short ball to the outside shoulder on the sideline. Because listen, when you're in that press coverage, this is what happens to you. You get in that man-to-man foot race, and you're looking at the guy, and you're following him. When his arms go up, when he's looking, that's when you react, and you get the back shoulder, because you're going as fast as he is. It's almost impossible to make that move and come back, because remember, we're chasing all the time, or at least running neck and neck with someone. So that back shoulder pass, and they started hitting in the end zone versus press coverage. It's been a tremendous weapon, and a lot of these receivers can go up and get the ball. I thought the kid played it the best he could, and it's just one of those things. You look, and at the end of the day, you watch the film, and quite frankly, as a player, sometimes you just look there and you start clapping for him. You applaud that The throw was great. The catch was good. I was there, but just inches away.
Uh, Lamar tried two read option plays with the rookie running back, and it looked like both times Taysom Williams didn't realize that Lamar was supposed to keep the ball, or it's like they had a tug of war. Those plays kill you. You can't. It's like you almost can't give up plays in a football game. You get the ball X amount of times, and when that happens, it just kills you. It's like penalties.
Yeah, it certainly does, Bruce. And one of those things. And again, with new players, they're not out there. I'm sure they don't stay after practice working on things like they did 20 some years ago. You got so many times to do it. And it is what it is. It's repetition, repetition. If you don't have it, those things are going to happen. The ball stays on his hip. And the next thing you know, it's on the ground.
Marcus Peters is out for the year. If you're Eric DeCosta, are you scouring right now looking for a replacement, or you're happy with the guys they have?
Oh, I think you're always looking. I believe that. And I think that hasn't changed since the 1958 game and John Unitas behind me playing. That's one of those things. They're always looking. They'll always be trying to improve their football team. All 32 teams across the country are doing the exact same thing. They think they can find somebody. They'll bring them in and look at them and give it a go. It's just one of those things. Defensive backs are like a beautiful Corvette. They're hard to get and expensive.
Yeah. So you're Wink Markendale, let's say right now, and you're facing Patrick Mahomes, who makes Derek Carr look like he's an ancient warrior. All right.
Yes.
What in the world do you do to try and slow down Kansas City, other than hope the offense can control the ball and keep it out of his hands?
Well, that's another problem he has. Is, as I said to you early in the program, here's what we're looking at. When Wink needs to put pressure on the quarterback, he's got to send a 5-person. He's got to send whoever the 4 of them go, he sends another one, so he gets to a 5-man rush. And when he really needs it, and hopefully they don't show it, because if you're showing blitz in the National Football League and they read it, and Carr read it a couple times, you're going to get burnt. But anyway, they don't have a 4-man rush that can get to the quarterback consistently. So Wink is in a tough situation. Mahomes, very, very mobile, can throw the ball all over the place, under his arm, over his head, a sidearm, whatever, and he's mobile and buys time. I don't know how you play that, except you better believe that if you're dogging him, if he knows it's coming, it's going to be hard day for you if you're a defensive back.
So you look after week number 1, and let's face it, Pittsburgh, somehow they won. I don't know how they won. Just like I don't know how the Ravens got
Buffalo
the ball back.
lost the football game, pal. Buffalo lost the football game. Pittsburgh didn't win it.
Yeah.
That's what happens. I mean, seriously, when you look at the league and you really do outside of the top 8 teams in the league, let's look at the other 24. If you look at the league, it's those teams that lose football games. They're not getting beat. They just, from mistakes, penalties, turnovers, whatever you want to call it, missed tackles, misreads, not understanding your job, they lose the game themselves. Now, the top 8 teams usually don't. You usually have to beat them. And this is a team that you're going to have to beat. They're not going to give it to you no matter what happens.
Another Bruce Lairdism that he told me about Lamar. You said Lamar only had 6 plays in the exhibition season, and you were not happy about that. And ironically, probably the first time he got smacked in the mouth this year, he fumbled. And the second time, somebody wrapped their arms around him, he fumbled. Does this come from not taking contact, you think?
Well, a little bit of that, and a little bit he gets too loosey-goosey with the ball a little bit in that pocket area and around a lot of people. He's such a tremendous athlete, such a tremendous runner, and he's Gumby-like. I call him that. It reminds me of that little old cartoon I used to see where the guy could bend and twist so many different ways. And he can do it going like 90 miles an hour. But he gets a little loosey goosey with the ball, and it cost him this time. Yeah. I
You
don't know if it's lack of playing, because as we're talking about, as you watch all these players and you're looking at that, no one really plays any plays in preseason, and they only had 3 games, and then everyone comes out and they expect you to do a 60 to 70 play football game. I think it's very, very hard on the athlete, not only physically, Bruce, but mentally. The game of football is such a mental game, because as you can see in this game here, every play in the last 15 minutes or more, because we went to overtime, was the big play. You can't get rubbed off. You can't, you can't miss a tackle. You can't do those things. And when you do them, it costs you football games.
John Gruden had success with Oakland the first time. He goes to Tampa, takes a Tony Dungy team, and wins the Super Bowl, gets the credit for it. But you and I know it was put on a platter for him. He comes out here to Oakland. He's wet the bed so far. All right. Is he a great coach in your eyes, or just he's not a $10 million a year guy? Is he?
Well, I mean, he's from the other side of the football that I am. He's an offensive minded guy. I've never been around him. I've never had the opportunity to know what his theory about X's and O's and how he coaches and how he deals with his quarterback. So I really can't comment on that. But at the end of the day, he has to take this football team in this new, beautiful, what was it, a $2 billion stadium, I heard?
Unbelievable.
And make this thing happen in Las Vegas. And it looks like between everybody coming from California, that's not that far, actually, the old Oakland fans and the new people in Las Vegas, it looks like they were rocking and rolling. It looks like they're going to have a lot of fun if he wins there.
Yeah, it's definitely a destination. So they got the Chiefs, and I wish they had the next 5 games after that starting next week. The Lions, Denver, the Colts, the Chargers, and the Bengals. Certainly, all of them are very winnable games, even with the team in this position. But I worry about the conference. All right, Cleveland looked awful good even in defeat, and the Bengals pulled out a victory. There's not going to be, there never is an easy conference game. And Pittsburgh, just when you think they're down, they punch you in the mouth. All right.
Yeah.
And it's not a happy.
I agree with you, Bruce. I think the out of conference games is going to be the ones. I think the Baltimore going, sweeping as they always did Cincinnati, and sweeping Cleveland for year after year. I think those days are over. And Pittsburgh's always been, if you win one and lose one, you're very happy with that. You win the home game, lose the away game. It's just going to be interesting to see what's going to happen to this football team Sunday night, another 8:20 ball game.
All right, last question. We're running out short of time. Lamar's going to take the fall for this game because of the fumbles. You know how he is. But how much is Wink Martindale going to regret the fact that he just passively played those 2 plays that led to the tying field goal? To me, that's not Ravens football.
No, I agree with you. And again, he pulled out a lot of stops very early in the game. The first pass play, like I said, sent an all-out blitz. He sent 6 people after Carr, and it was very successful. And then he continues because his personnel just is not going to allow him to find 4 people. I don't care who they are. You can put a corner up there, whoever you want to do it. But you're sending a 4-man rush, Bruce. You can cover with 7. So if you can move that quarterback off his spot, get him moving around, most of them aren't going to give you 8 or 9 seconds like Lamar to throw the football. You have a huge advantage. I don't think he has that. And now with Peters being gone, and the fact I don't even know what happened to Jimmy Smith. I guess he was a last minute scratch or whatever his situation is. They look like they got some good young kids. They're just going to have to get educated and get ready to play NFL football real quick.
Well, like you always say, it was a tough loss, a great game. It was a great game, but the one thing that we have to remember is the other teams got football players too. And
Right, no question.
Derek Carr to do what he did tonight, they were down 3 times. He came back every time to tie the score. You got to give him some ups. He played unbelievable. And
He
the
did.
ex-Raven, Darren Waller, even with 4 drops, still caught 10 passes. You know, at the end of the day, they were better than the Ravens. Not by much,
Yeah.
not by much, but they were better. Bruce, that's going to do it. I thank you so much for staying up so late. And as always, great. And I have to tell you, your wife said, I got the background picture. So I said, what's it going to be? She said, you watch. Mary Laird, she's the best. So it goes downstairs. There's a picture of Al the horse and Johnny U. All right. How great is that, Bruce Laird? You couldn't have a better background.
Pretty good.
All right.
Thank you, B.
Take care. We'll talk to you next week.
You betcha.
All right. This is Bruce Posner signing off. Thank you so much for listening to Saiontz that Kirk presents in the Nest. We will see you next week, and we'll let you know which day and what time we'll be on. Have a great week, everybody. It's the first game. The world's not coming to an end. We got 16 more of these to go through, and let's hope it's better next week. Take care, Bruce. Let's get them. Take care, everybody.